Western North Carolina businesses, they need your financial support now more than ever in the aftermath of Hurricane Helene. This month, Darby Communications, based in Asheville, North Carolina, is donating its ad space here on the Rock Fight to help other outdoor businesses in Western North Carolina get back on their feet. The outdoor industry is a major contributor to Western North Carolina's economy, and Darby Communications is asking people to donate to the Outdoor Business Alliance Hurricane Helene Relief Fund, which supports outdoor industry businesses in their recovery and supports their staff as they rebuild in the wake of the storm's devastation. Now is the time to help the outdoor community help build back what we lost in Western North Carolina. Head to outdoorbusinessalliance.org and click Donate Today to get started.
Rock fight, rock fight, rock fight, rock fight, rock fight, rock fight.
Welcome to the Rock Fight, where we speak our truth, slay sacred cows, and sometimes agree to disagree. This is an outdoor podcast that aims for the head. I'm Colin True, and joining me today, he's out there trying to buy up all the single-use propane canisters in California while he still can. It's Justin Hausman!
I mean, how many? You only, they're all you can drink. Those propane canisters right now. You can just buy them all up.
Yeah, I mean, actually, what's the play there? Do we buy more? Do we just go ahead and we may as well buy these while they're available?
Do we have a black market so that when the band goes in, you put, I don't know how you work around that.
I know a guy. I know a guy up in Marin.
Just show up in a trench coat, open it up, clang, 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 like all this propane.
That'd be pretty fun.
I sense an AI character.
I think there's an action figure coming out of that one, buddy.
Do you remember how that was a thing in our cartoons as a kid? There were people be selling it was always watches. It seemed like some sketchy dude opens his trench coat and it's just full of watches,
littered with illegal shit.
And it's like Huey, Dewey, and Louie going, "Well, I'll buy one for Uncle Scrooge" or whatever. It just it seemed like that was a common thing. But I mean, I'll ask you: have you ever had a person open a trench coat full of illicit items trying to sell them to you? Has this ever happened to you in real life?
Never. Let's put that up there with quicksand of things that I thought would play more of a role in my life that have played zero role in my life based off of pop culture as a kid.
It's a fun.
I thought for sure quicksand was like a real problem.
I think it is kind of right.
Where?
In some place, I don't know. In Narnia, maybe it's an issue.
Do you think that was like screenwriters in like the 30s? Like, hey man, do you remember that guy got caught in quicksand? Oh, that's good. Write it into the script.
Yeah, it happened one time.
Well, today we are going to hit some of the more notable stories that come out of a very slow outdoor news cycle because of the Thanksgiving holiday and all that. But before we get to that, we need you, everybody listening to this, to follow and rate the Rock Fight wherever you're listening on any podcast app. We had a killer follower month in November, Justin. I'll let you know.
Yeah, we did.
Literally hundreds of new followers, which was pretty dope. So thank you out there.
Yeah, that's good.
And leave a 5-star rating. Also, folks, are you subscribed to Rock Fight's newsletter? Because if you like the top-notch content you get here on the Rock Fight, our weekly newsletter has content you can't get anywhere else. So head to rockfight.co, click join the mailing list, comes out every Tuesday.
I think you stumbled. I think you kind of stumbled on that because you felt a little awkward because you're the one that writes the newsletter. And
I'm not much of a self-promoter.
Just praising yourself.
Have you seen this awesome newsletter I wrote? I'm like, right, it's so good.
10 out of 10.
It's so good. Justin, I hear you promote you host your own little podcast. What's up with that?
Little. You're on it too.
I know. That's why it's little.
That's your new favorite podcast, Gear and Beer, where we talk about gear and we drink beers while we're doing it, which I can't think of a better combination. I mean, it's not alliteration aside. It's just a goddamn good combination. It's also a listener-driven show, so we answer your questions about gear, and would love some about beer too. So throw those at us.
Justin's certified Cicerone.
That's
beer
right.
expert.
So I can tell you why all of your opinions about beer are wrong. And why all mine are right. And I think that's really what we're looking for in a podcast in 2024. A know-it-all host that can kind of just explain to you why your taste is bad.
Should we start the Justin is Right podcast?
If that's what you're looking for. No, actually, we end up mostly talking about how all beer is pretty much, it's like pizza. Like all beer is pretty much good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's pretty good. Anyway, so send us your questions for gear and beer. You can send that right to our regular Gmail address at myrockfight@gmail.com. In fact, all of your email feedback can go there. And while you're doing that, while you're sending us gear and beer questions and just general, Rock Fight thoughts, think up some questions for our new show or segment. Our new segment.
Good save.
Gear Abbey, which is coming out in the next couple months probably, where we'll have a rock star regular guest who is Gear Abby, and she's going to answer all of your burning questions about the outdoors, whether that's romantic advice, food advice, for probably bathroom advice, all that kind of fun stuff. So you can send those questions to us at myrockfight@gmail.com. Speaking of deer, I don't know if we'll talk about the. I don't know if it's not on the outline, but the deer running into the runners.
Did you see that video?
It's pretty funny. It's pretty amazing.
I saw that on, I don't know, some social media platform over the weekend, and then I realized that was in New York apparently, where a bunch of deer charged into like a turkey trot, basically. Is
You
what it
think
was?
you're safe? You're on pavement. It's just through a neighborhood. These deers are just nope.
I don't want to go trail running. I'll roll my ankle on the dirt road. I'll get hurt.
Like somebody, I mean, they like carted somebody off to the hospital. It was pretty serious.
It looks like maybe it's like an AI generated video. It doesn't even look
It doesn't
real
look
when
real.
you watch the video.
No, it doesn't look real.
Like
It makes no
oh.
sense. It's like it
See-
actually does look kind of like one of those AI videos that are just total nonsense, where someone's at the grocery store and their shopping cart turns into a submarine or something. It looked like all of a sudden there's deer. It makes no sense.
It's a nice crowd of people. They're all like, oh, having their nice, run before their Thanksgiving dinner, and then just they get all annihilated by these 4 deer that come running into the frame. It was crazy.
It's the animal apocalypse. We deserve it. It's long. It's a long time coming, and frankly, I'm here for it. I'm going to join the side of the animals, I think.
All right, well, let's start the show by entering the House of Housemen. According to your article, Justin, on nationalparkstraveler.org, earlier this fall, our home state of California passed legislation that would effectively ban the sale of single-use propane canisters starting in January of 2028. So we only have 3 years left to get in all our single-use canister use.
Use it or lose it.
This new law only impacts single-use canisters, not the refillable canisters, much to the relief of outdoor brand Ignic. But anyway, Justin, what else can you tell us about this new law?
Well, it's been in the works for a while now. Legislation is complicated, obviously. So California's bill came out in 2022 that proposed the same thing, and it has a different number. So I have no idea if this is the same exact legislation or not. All I know is that it was approved, or it passed the state legislature earlier this year, and then Newsom finally signed it. So now, boom, law for real.
Yeah.
I thought this was happening before, but apparently not. And so I think he signed it on November 4th or something. So this law is real deal. Hits January 28th. Now, what's interesting is I think a lot of people's first reaction is, who gives a shit about single-use propane canisters? I mean, it just doesn't seem like something
unless you're camping.
But I mean, like, just like what to do with it. Like, I've never really given it much thought. I don't go through enough of them for it to be this thing where I have all these propane canisters lying around. Now, granted, that's because I have an Ignic refillable propane canister. But even before, I would use them a couple a year, I guess. Maybe, I don't know. I don't remember. I never really thought much about it. And where I live, Sports Basement, the local outdoor chain, has you can I don't know what they do with them. I don't know. I never really thought to ask. Are they recycling them? Are they just properly disposing of them? I never really knew.
I just walk them out back and throw them in a dumpster.
I just handed them. I just hand an empty one to a confused checkout person every time I would buy something. And here you go. And they're like, what is it? I don't even know if they actually
you see
took
that
them
guy
back.
that comes in here once in a while.
I was handing the propane
canister.
canister. But I started looking into it when I saw, because I actually wrote about this when the bill first came out for Adventure Journal a couple years ago. But when this passed, I started looking a bit more into it for National Parks Traveler, and I was surprised at how much of a pain in the ass these things are to deal with if you are in any way involved in waste management. According to, and I forget who did the study, it costs each, like, the state of California basically $64 per. Or maybe not the state of California, your local municipality, whoever is paying for your trash, your waste management, $64 per canister to dispose of them properly.
So if I just throw it in my trash can,
$64 to the taxpayers. Now, apparently, the reason being is that they actually have to employ special, or not special people, but people that just kind of look out for this sort of thing. Because if there's no matter how, it's empty for your tank, but there's still some propane in it.
Yeah.
And so that's a huge hazard to just have baking around in landfills all the time. And so they have to pay people to actually sort these things and puncture them with a special tool, which you can get. You can get tools to puncture canisters before you throw them away, to sort of work around this. But anyway, point is it's expensive for states, counties, and cities to deal with it. And some counties in California, I know Butte County for sure, have already sort of unilaterally banned them in their own county just for this very reason. So this isn't necessarily. So the reactions. I know you're going to ask what's the reaction been. A lot of people kind of think, oh, this is just California going too far with a progressive policy. Who cares? Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But this isn't. It's not even a climate change issue for these counties. It's not. I mean, part of it is that burning propane is bad, but a lot of it from the county level is just we can't afford to deal with these things all the time. And it's the same thing with Park Service. The Park Service, all their campgrounds has all these freaking propane canisters in the garbage every single year, and so it actually makes a lot of sense considering it's pretty easy to refill a propane canister. So the workaround is you can buy them now, the 1 pound size, that are refillable. They're like $50, but there's only one brand I know of called Flame King that makes them. I'm sure there are other brands. I've never used one just because that's a small amount to like refill all the time. So I kind of think that people will just gravitate toward, if you camp enough for this to matter.
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
You're going to end up gravitating toward a larger one you can refill.
The only reason I have the small ones is because it's just easy to walk into a Walmart or an REI or whatever and pick up a small one, and then it's like and replace it when you're done. And for the little that I camp, like it lasts a few years usually, and then it's like then you go get another one. But why would I not just get an Ignic or something that's a little bit bigger? Because it's not like you're backpacking with these things. I mean, it's why not? I guess. And the reason it's a good point about, is this California overstepping their bounds? One reason I wanted to talk about it is, we are in California and this impacts us first, but it also typically means that you could probably expect this to happen in other places.
I would assume. Yeah, I would assume. I mean, like, obviously your first thought goes to something like air pollution requirements for cars. California sets the tone. I would expect this to happen elsewhere because other states are going to be dealing with the same issue in terms of dealing of I'm sure states where there's not a lot of camping, I guess, probably won't. But
why does this take so long? I mean, 2 years. I don't know. This is kind of like, is it about the feared backlash? Because the same thing, like we recently passed the plastic ban law that's coming, right? So in a couple of years, we're not going to be able to get plastic bags. And I'll fully admit there are times when I forget to bring my bags, and I'm like, yeah, all right, I'll get a few store-bought bags, and then I try to do my best to bring it back to the store because you can't recycle those in your home container. You got to bring them back to the store or whatever. But also, yeah, you know what? In a few years, I'm not going to be able to do that. And so, like, that's what's going to, you just have to deal with it. I think this is kind of the same thing. It's like, this is just like a no-brainer.
It seems like it to me. I mean, it seems like it to me. It also doesn't affect the ones that I'm much more likely to go through, which are the isobutane canisters that you use for backpacking, the smaller canisters. Those aren't applicable here. And I presume that's because they're not used as much, and I don't know of a way to refill an isobutane canister because they don't use propane. They use isobutane, and so that and I'm more likely to go through those. And I always feel a little bit weird about it because it's just this little bit of metal that I use for a few times and I throw it in the garbage. But
right.
I don't know. You can buy stuff on eBay where you can use an adapter to refill those as well as the currently existing 1 pound non-refillable canisters, but I would not recommend doing it. I mean, this isn't something to screw around with.
Yeah, and this isn't even me being like Mr. Environmentalist. I feel like if the only reason to not do something, is like to say, because boy, that would be really inconvenient if that doesn't exist anymore, then fuck that. They're like, no, it's too bad.
I don't know what, I mean, honestly, I don't know what people are going to do that are used to this. I mean, if you don't camp enough for it to matter for you and you have no way of refilling one, are you still going to throw it you're still going to throw it away, right? So that's a question I have. I mean, they're going to be way more expensive. You got to figure, even if price comes down to $25-$30, like your average family who wants to cook outside at a campground rolls up to Walmart and is like, holy shit, propane canisters are $30. Like, I don't know what they're going to do. Like, is it worth it for them to buy a 5-gallon one so they can, or 5-pound one so they can refill it? Maybe. I don't know.
All right, so if we're still doing this podcast in the summer of 2028, we need to make sure we remember to like check out TikTok or Instagram Reels or whatever for the tantrums that are being thrown.
God, people are going to be so
people
mad.
Walking, where's the fuel? I'm going camping.
People are going to be so mad.
I know, I can't wait.
And it's entirely possible that landfills will just fill up with way more expensive propane canisters that are designed to be refilled. I guess theoretically, at least you could just take it and I don't know and refill it yourself if you're the waste management company.
So I just throw this one away now? No, you're gonna refill it. No, I'll just throw it away.
No, I'll throw it away. People are gonna get. I mean, it's just like this whole country is basically a giant middle finger to being told what to do, like at any given point.
That's what I mean. Like, oh God! Like, people can't throw away the toxic metal.
People will buy them and throw them away just to. People will in like red counties will make shows of like buying the refillable ones and throwing them in the garbage.
Right,
wasting $50-$100 at a time just to prove a point.
Well, the next thing, according to Justin's all-time favorite publication, The Inertia, on October 17th of this year, 20-year-old Sam Benestek, I think I pronounced that correctly. Benestik?
I can't help you.
Yeah, left his home to spend upwards of 10 days camping in British Columbia's Redfern Kiley Park. But after Sam became lost, he wasn't seen again for 50 days. There was, of course, a long search for him after it was discovered that he was indeed missing. And then last week, he was discovered by workers who were grading a Park Service road. And Sam was walking down the road with a stick in each hand for balance, and it had his sleeping bag, which he had cut in half, wrapped around his legs for warmth. I mean,
sure. He made a skirt. He made like a down skirt.
Right? He's like, Rumpel might sponsor this guy. What's happening in the Pacific Northwest? This story is just a couple of months after Robert Schoch had that similar experience in Washington, but he was much less prepared. But we talked about that on the Rock Fight last September. I mean, is this aliens? What's happening up there?
Well, it could be aliens. They just abduct people and they just set them down with like strange. They can't quite remember what he did. What did this guy have? Like some hiking poles? Give him some sticks. Did he have that? He had like a bag. I don't know. I think maybe they were pants, and they just kind of
check out the lost and found in the in the spaceship. You know?
I mean, Pacific Northwest it could be Sasquatch. You know, maybe maybe I don't know. I don't know what they would do with the person for a while, but it is a bit weird. But I mean, I don't know. I feel like when I first went to Santa Cruz, which is not in the Pacific Northwest, but may as well be.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of, I suppose Northern California is like edging in that direction. But
it is part Cascadia.
You just like meet so many people who are there because they're lost. Like they didn't know where else to go. They thought they'd find themselves there. You know what I mean?
Like mentally,
yeah,
they're kind of like
I don't
lost.
know. I just never felt. I just never fit in anywhere. I don't know. I just this seemed fine. Whatever. And like I like the trees. You know. I feel like the Pacific Northwest probably has a lot of that sort of thing, where people are just, or just living amongst all that rain just does something to you. I don't know, but it's also easy to get lost there because it's just like, I mean, it's
not
very
a lot
lush.
going on.
Yeah, it's very easy to get lost.
Easy to get disoriented. And actually, I did find a follow-up articles from People actually about Robert Schoch and kind of recounting what had happened.
I saw that. Yeah.
So it's not the same, but the similarity of they were discovered relatively close to like work crews who are just out like doing stuff. So which says to me that like they were not far away from
super duper deep into the wilderness. But it's so easy. That's the thing. In that zone, it is so easy. It is like when even just cutting down a tree the other day.
Yeah.
I had a really good idea where we were. We were maybe 50 yards from our car. But anyway, it's like you turn around. If I couldn't hear one of my kids, I start to panic because every tree looks the same.
Yeah,
and
it's a good point.
I know our car's like right there. I probably could have like pulled the key out and beep 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 and like found it. So it's easy to get lost. But yeah,
that's a good point. I mean, these forests. I remember. I mean, even what was that, like a walk in the woods where Bill Bryson talked about he kind of got off trail up in Maine, and you just kind of get in these dense forests and you'd get turned around and like, wait a minute, which way was the trail? And before you know it, you're walking in the wrong direction.
One of the saddest stories I remember from covering at AJ was a woman who was in her 60s, I think, on hiking. I don't think she was hiking the whole AT, just part of it. And I don't remember where she was, what state she was in, but she got lost, disoriented, and died of, I don't know, thirst or hunger or both. She was like I want to say she was 5 meters from the trail.
Oh, stop.
She just couldn't find it.
Just couldn't find it.
Yeah.
All it takes is one step in the wrong direction. You're not going to go.
And she probably just kind of panicked, and she did what she was supposed to do. She just sat there and waited. But
I was going to ask you if you think these things happen way more than often than we read about. But I mean, just like
that's an interesting question because theoretically, you would say this used to happen all the time. Well, it's probably always happened at the same frequency, but now we have national news constantly, so we can find out about it. I mean, probably, yeah, probably. But people are probably less likely to get lost now because they have phones.
That's true.
So
I
don't know.
When like you were like, and not to bring up colonialism, but think about people like the settlers moving west across like the Great Plains for the first time. Like there's no trails, right?
No.
They're just taking a wagon across, like I guess we go this direction.
This looks easier than that,
right?
Yeah, I mean the Donner Party was. They were there for more than 50 days. They were there from something like November to February.
Oh my God, so long.
That's a really
in the dead of winter.
In the dead of winter, it's
like 8,000 feet or something, 9,000 feet or whatever.
Not even that high. Like Donner Lake's probably 7,000. I can't be there without thinking about it. It's like I don't go there all the time, but if you're going to go to Truckee from where I live, you pass through, you go over Donner Summit and you pass next to Donner Lake, and where we like to kind of have our snow fun is right next to Donner Lake, and so we go by it all the time, and inevitably it occurs to me. Like my wife will be driving or something, and I'll just be like eating pretzels, just like drinking a coffee,
right?
Just fiddling with a podcast, and I'll be like, oh, I wonder how far I am from someone who had to like eat a corpse. And if you could just like snap your fingers and they could see how
Yeah.
It's just like,
Right.
it's just in a warm car, like, blah, 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 blah. There's no issues, because there's nothing. And they're just like, God,
It's going to be snowing and 20 degrees. I was like, that's fine. I'm in a car. I'll be in
that
good
sounds
shape.
great. The
Yeah,
tubing will
right.
be fun. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't know how this guy did it, but these guys should all go on the like 8 million History Channel survival shows though, because obviously they know what they're doing.
Right? They made it that long.
They should get like Robert Schoch should get invited to a show. Just be like, well, here's what you do.
I bet he
You sit
has.
here and you don't eat.
Like, hey, it's so-and-so from Discovery Channel or whatever, or
Yeah.
Max or whatever network it's on. You ever think about being on alone? You already did it once. You want to do it again?
Maybe that's like super, super offensive. Like, are you kidding me? Like, that was the most horrific experience of my life, and you want me to just fine, I'll do it. How much? Hey, you.
Yeah.
No, I mean outdoor retailers.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, obviously. Listen up. You're sick of it, aren't you? Another sales rep walks in. They look like Colin, probably. They're showing off some flimsy, forgettable apparel line that looks like it was meant for a mall. So-called outdoor brands turning out gear that won't make it past the doors of a Costco come Saturday.
You could be an outdoor. You could be a rep. It's not just me.
That's because I'm so things look good on me. It's like a mannequin walked in here. Are you kidding me? Look at that. You need something else, outdoor retailers. You need gear built for granite and ice, for the steep and the cold. You need a brand that's stripped down and built up for real wilderness.
What could I do? If I'm the retailer in this case, what could I do?
Well, what you need to do is you need to get your hands on some Northwest Alpine.
Oh.
Yeah. You see, back in 2010, Northwest Alpine set out to make the apparel that the big brands were forgetting all about. They got caught up. The others, I should say, the big brands got caught up in fashion shows. But Northwest Alpine, no. They went right back to the essentials, Colin. They make the gear that's simple, light, strong, and built to last.
Hold on. This is my favorite part. What part you're going to say? This is going to be great. Here we go. I want to get ready for it. Go ahead.
Where do you think they make it?
Where? Tell me where.
Right here in the USA. The US of A.
So good.
You're thinking, wait, you mean Northwest Alpine's Black Spider hoodie made with Polartec Power Grid is sewn up in the States? Yeah, that's where it's sewn up, Colin.
Amazing.
If you're tired of black, don't worry. They have other colors. They have colors, actual colors too.
It's the Black Spider hoodie, right? So
but there's black, and then there's blacker than black. There's other, they do make other colors besides the Black Spider hoodie. So here we are, in a time when everything is uncertain. Costs are going up, tariffs are looming, and boy, are they looming. Old, bloated brands are hiking up prices. Northwest Alpine's here with American-made gear ready to stock your shelves. You can get in touch by sending an email to info@nwalpine.com, and you can set up a line showing today. Northwest Alpine, made here for all the right reasons.
All right, Explorers Web put up a story a couple of weeks back, but we haven't had a chance to talk about it. Scientists have confirmed that a fossil discovered by a hiker...
They were concerned about the age, and they confirmed it.
They did. So it was a fossil that was discovered by a hiker in 2023 that is part of a 280 million year old ecosystem. In April 2023, Claudia Stephenson was hiking in the Italian Alps, and she discovered a slab of rock that had what looked like footprints on it. This is, I think, the coolest part of the story. She took a picture, passed it to a friend who's a nature photographer, who then passed it along to a paleontologist, who then invited other experts to investigate. And what they found through this amazing game of telephone, it basically led to this discovery of what they called a treasure trove of fossilized tracks of prehistoric reptiles, insects, arthropods, and amphibians, all of which predate the dinosaurs. So you sent this over to me like a week ago, Justin. You were pretty excited about it. What is it about this discovery that got you pretty fired up?
Well, one, I love old things. As an old thing myself, I do. I have a soft spot for old stuff. But to me, this is. I don't know. I guess for some reason I feel a need to justify hiking as a pursuit in and of itself in the outdoor space.
You mean like you have to have
hiking.
a reason just to go hike around the woods or whatever?
No, not for me, but I feel like it's got to be like the least sort of cool or interesting like outdoor activity, right? Like everybody hikes. I remember reading an article once that Brendan Leonard wrote about years ago about how when he first realized he kind of enjoyed hiking, he had always viewed it as a thing to get to some, like a hike to get to the base of a mountain or a rock I'm going to climb or something I'm going to do, right? And then he finally, at one point he realized, I'm kind of just enjoying just the getting to there part, and I'll just go for like a hike. And I don't know. I mean, obviously hiking is really popular, but it just feels like it's kind of ignored amongst the outdoor crowd, right?
Yeah,
Like
it is.
you trail run, sure, but hike, I don't know. But here's why it's awesome. You can see things. You're at the pace of discovery, right? Like, you're never gonna see. You know how many times I've like ridden past a rattlesnake right by my face on my mountain
yeah.
bike, and then someone else maybe is doing something and they've stopped and they pointed out. And I didn't even see that.
Yeah.
Happens all the time. But I mean, my great example. I was out hiking with my kids the other day on a trail I miraculously haven't found yet, which I thought for sure I'd hiked everything around here. Beautiful trail. And I'm walking past stuff and my little kids are finding stuff. Look at that dead giant salamander. Look at that. Look at that. And part of it's they're lower to the ground, but it's because they're walking even slower than me. And I just think that's great. And so to me, this kind of thing is like, this is why you hike, right? Like you're at the pace of discovery, which means maybe you have a little book with you that's telling you what the trees are, what the plants are, what the insects are. Maybe you're using an app. You have the time to stop and do that sort of stuff. And it's like, you're not, for all I know, she was trying to set an FKT, and none of this applies. I don't know, but it's just hiking to me is just such a special thing to do, because you're not only are you immersed in the environment, but you can actually really like take it in. And so, I mean, this is the kind of thing where if you're speeding through on a bike, you might glance, be like, oh, footprint.
Right.
Figure some out a dog out there, or whatever. So this is the kind of stuff that you can see. It reminds me of the time when I was working as an archaeologist and I had the only time I ever like discovered anything, even though that's not really the right term to use, was when I was on a survey, which is you're just hiking. And we were up in I may have told the story on the show before, but we were up out of Kings Canyon National Park, pretty high up, trying to find just kind of looking to see if there are any artifacts over the Kearsarge Pass, basically, which we're just looking for new east-west passes that the indigenous people may have taken. But anyway, at one point, we're kind of looking around in one area, and we're above tree line a little bit, and it was kind of the first time you could really get a good view of what was around you after a few weeks of just being in the trees. And I saw this little knoll overlooking this creek, and I was like, oh, that's a great place to have lunch. And like, let's go sit down there. And as I was walking down there, I'm like, I wonder if we'll find something. And sure enough, boom, there's a lithic scatter of the most beautiful purple obsidian I'd ever seen. And you could just, I don't know, it could have been 200 years ago, it could have been 5,000 years ago. Someone sat right there and napped a little arrowhead. I mean, it's just awesome. And it's just like, that's the kind of thing where, again, you don't see unless you're just walking slowly and kind of paying attention to it. And so that's what makes me excited about that. It's just the kind of stuff that you can find still, and it's pretty incredible. I mean, I can't conceive of 280 million years ago. Jesus God.
No, I mean, the discovery itself is cool. Someone probably would have found it, but the fact that it was a hiker, that's a really good point. I think I wrote about in the newsletter just a few weeks ago about a thing about like, can we make hiking cool again? Like, not that it's not cool, but it is this kind of, it's exactly to your point. It's usually the activity that I think that most people come to first when they discover the outdoors, right? It's like whether it's a nature walk or whatever. Yeah. And I definitely did. It kind of like did it for a while, then quickly let that take me to do other things. And then now as I get older, kind of coming back to it, appreciating it so much more. But there's really like no, even on the industry side, like there's no, what are the brands that make hiking cool? There are brands that support it. And it's not that they're not cool, but it's not like no one leans into it to be like, fucking hiking rules. And we are celebrating hiking. I think hiking you can use a little
by
of
itself
that.
Would be a good brand. Just making cool hiking stuff,
Right?
Like, I mean, obviously, it does feel like, I think Brendan was onto something where it feels like the hiking aspect is generally a means to an end. I mean, I guess backpacking is hiking.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah, it is. Right.
But I don't know. There's something different about having your stuff with you and planning to sleep out there versus a hike where you're coming back.
Yeah.
I don't know, but not like this afternoon, I will either go for a hike or a trail run. Almost certainly, I will have completely different experiences depending on which one I pick. Completely different.
And think about how close those two things are to each other.
They're basically the same. They're basically the same thing.
Yeah.
So I just anything I can do to kind of bring the joy of hiking to other people, I think I'll always want to do. And this is part of the reason why I've never, I'm not, odds of you finding a 280 million year old fossil aren't great, but shit, maybe they are. I mean, that's the other cool thing about this article is it's like, you think we've found everything. You think that the world is, it's been scoured, so repeatedly by scientists, by by everything, by drones, by satellites, by whatever, and you can still stumble on something like this. Is pretty damn cool. Right out in the open. She didn't have to like dig for it. It was just right there. I do like the idea that you could go outside right now and like walk through mud and accidentally, and somehow for some reason it's preserved for hundreds of millions of years. Like just and someone will find it and be like, huh.
Well, the discovery itself, like I think we focused on the right thing. It's the thing I'm most interested in the story as well. However, 280 million, like predating the dinosaurs,
Yeah,
like, that's
rad.
pretty amazing.
That's all. That's
rad
like
as
when
shit.
that's like I don't know. I don't remember. That might have been Pangea. That's when probably Antarctica was the tropics. I mean, it's just
Right.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Also, that article was so odd. It was, here's this cool find, here's this thing, it's great, and then the kicker was like, by the way, we're all fucked because of climate change. It's like, what does this have to do with anything at all? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, no, I do.
For no reason at all.
Whoa!
Just like, and the
Coming
only
off the
reason
top rope.
it wasn't even like it wasn't like it melted out of a glacier. Like, it had no relation other than, hey, things age and die and the world changes and we're all gonna die of climate change. It's like, oh, great, thanks.
A little spoiler though, we were gonna die no matter what.
Yeah,
so,
we're all gonna die. Yeah. Well, not. I mean, everybody else is. I'm not.
Clearly not you.
No.
All right. Well, guess what? Because you're not gonna die. It's time for the parting shot.
It's time to leave this place that town forgotten. Let's take a rock and head on home. It's time for a party shot.
I love the parting shot, Colin. Who goes first today?
I think. Did you go first last time? Do you want me to go first?
I don't remember. It doesn't matter to me. If you're feeling it, go for it.
I'll go first. So I wrote about this in yesterday's edition of Rock Fight's newsletter, which, as you were told at the beginning of this episode, you can also receive if you go to rockfight.co and click join the mailing list. But this week, my former employer and famed fabric maker Polar Tech announced the brands that would be winning their annual Apex Awards that they hand out to celebrate design innovation for garments that utilize their products. And my parting shot is for the newly redesigned trophy that they're handing out, because the previous Apex Award trophy, it was a hand-forged pewter statue of a wizard that we named Malden. This happened actually when I was at the brand.
How funny is the word pewter? Can I just jump in and just say pewter is a hilarious word?
It is a hilarious word. And the new trophy is basically a recycled plastic pyramid. And not basically, it's what it is. I don't know what the mandate was for an updated Apex Award trophy. Maybe there were sour grapes from those inside Polar Tech who never liked the Wizard. Maybe it was a cost and logistics savings. The Wizard was hard to make. Or maybe they just felt it was time to do something different. All I do know is what they came up with was not a worthy successor to Malden, the Wizard, which I'll put links in the show notes if you want to see what I'm talking about. And I wish that if they were going to put Malden out to Wizard pasture, then they had come up with something that was at least on par with the outgoing trophy. But hey, at least some apparel designers are going to get a new plastic paperweight, so there's that. And that's sorry, Polar Tech. Yeah, you're in my crosshairs for the parting shot. I do not like your new trophy. It sucks. All right, what's your parting shot?
So all right. So I mean, I guess it's not. I was gonna say it's related, but it really isn't. So I mean, partly this is because I get a lot of new stuff, I suppose. But I was packing my bag for my trip this weekend, and I open it up, and there's like 4 hang tags drop out. And it occurred to me, I've never looked at a hang tag in my life. I mean, unless you're looking for the price. Like, what are we? What I realize that as a retailer, there's probably some information on there. There's a SKU. I guess you need to know that. There's some other information on it, but I mean, for the most part, the hang tags are so absolutely useless. It's basically here's a little bit of garbage to bring with you home for absolutely no reason. We live in a world where you can go to a restaurant and use your phone to get a QR code with the menu. They don't necessarily have to hand you menus anymore. Can't we just print a QR code on like a tag?
Like a sewn-in label, like a
like a sewn-in label.
Like
Can't we just do that? Like, if I really need to know what this product is called and like that it has 30% thermoplastic gyrospirine, whatever, like I can see that. But I don't need to know that. Put that on the pop-up display or the pop display, whatever, so I can see all that stuff above it. But I just don't understand why every single piece of clothing I get, especially because like if it's an outdoor thing, you might just like get a new thing and throw it in your car and then show up at a trailhead and you're like, shit. Like sometimes they're really the fabric the string is too hard to like pull apart and you can't cut. If you don't have a knife, now you're dangling a new tag around.
Right.
And I never look at them. Nobody looks at them. No one's ever looked at them. Someone got paid to write the copy that goes on there. God bless them. No one's looking at it. You get it. You cut it off. You throw it away. Maybe you panic because you cut it off and now you need to return it. Does it matter? It doesn't have the tag on it? I don't know. I still don't really know what happens when you cut the tags off something, you send it back. No idea what happens, but it just, for the love of God, nobody needs them. No one. Nobody needs I guarantee if you piled up all the hang tags in the country, every new piece of clothing purchase in a year, it would probably reach the Empire State Building for no reason. No one needs it.
By the way, Justin gave, through our conversation last week about like brand differentiation, you just gave some brand an idea that if they do it, I guarantee you will be successful with it. The first brand to kind of cross that Rubicon and be like, oh, we just put a QR code and the sewn in hang tag or whatever. Yeah. People will freaking love that. I mean, where's the thing? Oh, just scan this. Oh my God, that's so awesome.
Yeah, and then like you could have. I mean, presumably there are QR codes. I've seen them. There are QR codes on hang tags. Just put it on a label.
By the way, if I can, with my phone, scan a QR code, get a menu, place my order, have the food brought out to me, and then usually cash out with it, why do I need a hang tag on a code?
See? That's what I mean. I mean, right? Because you're just like, oh, cool, I'm going to throw this away. Like, I'm going to get this. You're going to throw it away. It's just, you're giving me a dangling piece of cardboard that I have to throw away.
You're printing up anybody who receives that box of hang tags that you're going to put on your garments. They're just looking at a box of trash because that's where it's all going to end up. That's a good parting shot.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
You know, it helps when it comes from the heart. You know,
when I'm fucking serious.
Kick somebody's ass if I have to cut off another hang tag.
Justin's on a flight to China tonight. He's going to kick in the door at all the factories.
Like, trying to put something on your kid, and you're like, oh damn it! And you're like pulling the little, especially when they're plastic, and you're just like cutting into your circulation in your fingers.
Yeah, if you don't get it right away,
and your daughter's like, Dad, can't you just open that? You're like, shut up, it's hard. And you're just trying to get it off. You get it off. You're so tough.
All right, man, well, let's wrap it up there. The Rock Fight's a production. Rock Fight LLC. For my guy, Justin Hausman, I'm Colin Truth. Thanks for listening. And he, I don't think Krista Makes endorses hang tags. I think he'd probably agree with us.
He hates hang tags.
Right, he's here to take us out, and he hates hang tags. He also was going to sing the Rock Fight fight song. We'll see you next time, Rock Fighters.
Rock Fight.